Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel for another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with another track guide, this week's Daily Race C. So if you do enjoy these videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments if it helps you out and give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out if you give these videos a thumbs up. So we do these whenever there's a combination that I haven't already done on the channel. Last week we had already done a guide for Group 3 at Bathurst. We haven't done a guide yet in Group 2 at Autopolis. Now this lap is far from perfect, but I think it's going to give you the basics and give you a basic understanding of how you get a good lap time around this track, and that is very important at this combination because it is nearly impossible to overtake following another car with the turbulent air that these cars give off on Gran Turismo 7. So yeah, get that qualifying lap in and start yourself as high up as possible by following this guide. Let's get into it and try and help you out. So from the last corner, try and give yourself as much extra speed as possible, obviously for this main straight and working down into turn 1. When we're going into turn 1, we're going to be looking between the 100 board and the 50 board. I'm going to slow it down and show you now. So as we come to the 100 board, you're going to see the 100 board is there and the 50 board in the distance, and whereabouts that white little line is there, I've just drawn that on, just pretty much right in the middle. You're going to get on the brakes, and now you're going to start slowing the car down. So you're going to start downshifting the car, and you're actually going to go down to second gear briefly for rotation to start rotating the car in. You're going to turn in quite late as well. You see how late we're turning in here, and then upshift to third gear before we get to the apex of the corner. You can see ideally you want your right tyres to skim the white line. I slightly missed that, and that delays our ability to get on the throttle, so we actually lose out on over 1/10 of a second on the first sector straight away. However, we do this next part reasonably well. So you can see again 50 board, we're going to use that as a reference on the left there, braking just before the 50 board, and now we're going to start rotating this car in. Now use third gear, trail brake into this apex, very important to get the rotation on there with the trail braking, and then back on the throttle to try and swing the car from right into this next left. Now you're going to use throttle control through here, so little dab of the brakes just to get a bit of weight on the front of the car. That's going to help with rotation, and then just let the car off throttle, and then you can see playing with that throttle all the way through this corner. We're not going maximum attack all the way through here because you want to just let the car keep biting itself into the apex, and again you want to hit this apex on the left, and then as soon as the car is straightened up there, as soon as it is in a straight line, you're getting on the brakes, and you can see that braking input going in because you want to get this car rotated and staying narrow to this apex as close to the curb as you can on the right hand side. Now upshift to second gear and get on that power as early as you can. Maximum throttle. You can see you want to be careful the rear doesn't snap. It nearly tried to snap there, but we just got away with that. Now this fast left hand corner, use the curb on the right hand side for extra width to widen the line into this fast left hand corner. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come off the throttle briefly there. You can see just lifting off the throttle, we're not touching the brakes, and then back into fourth gear and maximum throttle, and then just play a little lift off the throttle there just because I felt a bit of understeer, and just try and keep the car in the track before, you don't want to go off on the edge of the track there into the grass. Now working our way up into this next tricky hairpin, we're using this left arrow board here before the 50 board. You can see the 50 board just behind it. We're using that arrow board there as a braking reference, braking just slightly past it. You can see braking inputs going in now, and we're going to downshift through the gears. Again, quite a late turning. You want to keep the car in a straight line for as long as possible to get the speed knocked off, and then down to first gear, try and get this left tire to get onto this apex, and you see a little bit of tarmac on the left hand side there. You can actually use that if possible, and then into second gear and power the car out as quickly as possible on the throttle there. And now you're going into this very, very aggressive right hand corner. Again, 50 board, use that as a reference. As we approach that, you're going to see a tiny little dab of braking input going in here. Not a massive amount, it's just a tiny bit of dab just to get a little bit of trail braking into the corner you see there. And then down to fourth gear, right hand tyre on the curb, and then onto the throttle aggressively. Use the full width of the track, and now we're into this right hand corner. And you're going to turn in before the end of the curb. You see the end of the curb there, and a little tiny bit of braking input going in there. That again to get the weight onto the front of the car. Stay in fourth gear. Now I downshifted to third too early here. Should have stayed in fourth longer. That actually causes understeer and loses me a bit of time there, and I have to go back up to fourth gear anyway there. Now into this left hand corner, you're going to see a little lift off the throttle there as we're approaching the apex, and then back onto the throttle, and then into this right hand corner. We're going to brake quite a way before the curb. You can see you want to get this braking done quite early because this is a tricky corner. Down to second gear, and you can use first gear for extra rotation here, which I had to do because I would have probably understeered off the track. First gear will help snap that car back into where you want it to go for this corner. Now you can see we've lined up the corner. We can get into second gear, and we can really power our way through the curb, over the top of this curb, and now into this next left hand corner, which again you can see just a tiny little lift off the throttle with a tiny amount of braking input going in there. And we're just going to let the car coast through this corner briefly before getting back onto that throttle. So keep an eye on the throttle inputs, back onto the throttle, playing with that throttle a little bit, and then working our way into this final corner. And this final corner is where a lot of time can be gained or lost. So again, swinging the car to the left and trying to get it back to the right. So you want to get it swinging in now, and just before the curb on the right hand side, you want to start getting on the braking input now. You can see a tiny bit of braking input going in there just for rotation. Let that car try and get to the curb as much as possible, and once it's feeling like it's getting onto that curb, onto that throttle nice and early, 100% throttle all the way to the finishing line now to try and give you the best lap possible. Now I think we lost at least 3 tenths on that lap alone with silly little mistakes, so I think a very low 33 should be possible for me. Whether I'll bother to try and push it, I don't know. I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you're doing a lot of this race this week, you really need to push this time trial because it is so difficult to overtake in these cars. Gran Turismo has a bit of a overdone turbulent air system, and it pretty much ruins racing in Group 2. So if PD can sort that out, we'd have a good race here, because the strategy element is really exciting here this week. It's got a good amount of difference between the tyres, you know, the pit element. It's just a shame that you can't actually race at this track with these cars. It's basically impossible. Once you're behind the car, even if you're 2 seconds quicker than the car in front, you will struggle to overtake that car because the front of the car will just not turn in. Now, watching the lap again from the chase cam, you can see about using the full width of the track and trying to see. I maybe took a little bit too much grass on the left hand side there, which probably lost us half a tenth there as well. But yeah, into this next left hand corner, you can see using that left hand arrow board, getting it on the power as early as possible is so important for that corner there as well, to really drive the car down this hill and into this fast right hand corner. And this corner here, again, if you've got the commitment, you'll gain a lot of time in this corner using the full width of the track and into the apex. You can see that third gear shift just caused me a massive amount of understeer. I really shouldn't have done that, but we managed to rescue it a bit on this corner after running a little bit wide there. I managed to take good speed through here. You can see up to third gear, using the curves nicely, and then got it into this left hand corner and on the throttle nicely. And actually, this final corner here did it reasonably well. Managed to get the car rotating in on the apex. See how we're following that white line there? That enables you to get on the power nice and early and power your way to the finishing line. So hopefully this will help you out. Let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more of these, along with the 2 million credit guides that we do every 2 weeks. So get subscribed, hit that like button, and I'll see you all soon. Bye everyone.